This video is unlike any other video that I've ever made. What you're about to see is a real makeup lesson with a real client, not a model, that I did in my studio from start to finish. You'll get to learn about her pain points, like how she struggles with her hooded eyes and the redness in her skin, and you'll get to see how I tackle each issue one by one. Grab a snack and a drink because it is a long one. It's very different than the usual, but I do hope that you enjoy it and that you learn something new that you can then apply to your own makeup routine. Let's go. So tell me a little bit about your skin.
I would say normal, and I'm pretty blessed being 50 that I've got pretty smooth skin. Obviously you get the eye texture that I didn't really sign up for, but we moisturize and use eye cream. Everything else is kind of normal. And then some redness I battle a little. That's it.
Did you ever have issues with rosacea or eczema?
Yeah, probably 25-ish. I had a touch of rosacea in the cheeks and around my nose that I had some like medicated cream for, but that was it.
Do you ever find that your rosacea will peek through your foundation?
If I don't put it on thick enough, yeah.
First thing we need to do is start with a really well hydrated base. So I'm gonna use two products on you. I'm gonna start with a glow serum that's gonna give you that healthy, radiant glow. This product is by Merit. It's called Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. It's nice because it is super lightweight. As we get older, you know, as we move along through life, we kind of lose that radiance that young people have. You're a teacher. And so I'm sure you've noticed that a lot of kids, like little girls, even little boys, they have this glow to their skin that's not greasy. It's just like a healthy, natural radiance. This will kind of help you get that from underneath the foundation. The only thing is this isn't hydrating, so you're not going to want to use this on its own unless you have oilier skin, but it's a great kind of first step.
It does feel really good.
And then Merit also has another product that goes with it called the Priming Moisturizer. So this is a little bit thicker in texture. This is more of a classic hydrator or moisturizer, but the nice thing about it is that it also works like a primer. So it's really great for using under makeup. And then do you know what the third step is after moisturizer?
Nope. I'm thinking there's a third. Oh.
Sunscreen.
Oh, it comes after.
Yes.
Oh, I always do it first.
A lot of people don't wear moisturizer or don't wear sunscreen every day, and it's actually a huge issue because the number one cause of aging in the skin is UV radiation.
Sun damage, yeah.
Yeah. It will lead to age spots. It will break down your collagen, premature wrinkles. So that's amazing that you're actually doing that because most people don't.
I can't leave the house without sunscreen in the spring and summer. Because I'll just be incinerated. Like, it's so fair that I will burn or even just hold heat.
Yes.
So that I feel really hot. It looks like a burn and then it takes hours for it to kind of dissipate.
Totally.
So I don't leave the house without sunscreen.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I can't.
It's a good thing almost that it sucks that that happens to you, but it forces
It's a good reminder to say you need this.
And it explains why you have such beautiful skin.
Well, thank you.
Because you can tell right away, and especially in the 50s, women who haven't done sun protection, you can really start to see
the breakdown.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do for you now is I'm going to do your eye makeup first. And this is when you need to trust the process, because when you do the eye makeup first, things can look really out of whack until you do the base.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to kind of trust the process. So let's talk a little bit about your eye makeup. What do you normally do and where do you normally struggle?
I like to do a clean, polished, professional look. I teach and I'm really busy, so I try to aim for a 5 or 10 minute face in the morning.
Yes.
I like to do browns and pinks to kind of bring out my eye color.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at putting it on so that you can see it. And I don't know if that is because of a hooded lid. So I put it down too low and you can't see it when my eyes are open. Or I'm just not putting enough on.
Yeah.
I'm not using the right brush. I'm not putting it in the right place. Yes. So it's kind of a crapshoot. And some days it's like, yeah, nailed it. And like curled eyelashes, love that. And black mascara always.
Yes.
Just for the lift, especially in the outer corner.
Yeah.
But there are days when I almost feel like my skin eats the makeup. And I think it's because I'm not putting a proper color, like a base down to hold the makeup and hold the color.
Yes. Do you ever get creasing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So creasing happens because your eyes are deeper set. Since your lid touches your crease, if you're not putting a good priming layer down, it's going to transfer.
Yeah.
And so I think that's an issue that you're likely having. So I'll show you how to offset that. So you can get an eyelid primer. This one's by Urban Decay. We're just going to place it from the lash line all the way up to the brow bone. Do a nice thin layer. And then you're going to want to keep your eyes closed while it's setting.
I think that's the part I fail. I put it on and I start putting makeup on too early. Like it's still tacky feeling.
Yes. So this is the RMS Eyelights. I love this. This is a cream eyeshadow that dries down beautifully. It's not creasy or too emollient. All I'm going to do is place it on the back of my hand. You can actually pop this on with your fingertips if you want to, but I like having more control. So I like applying it with a brush. This is Rephr number 28. And all I'm going to do is go from the lash line into the crease, and you got to work fast because it dries down really quick. This is going to be the easiest eye look ever. And then where it hits the crease, we need to blend it out.
Can you blend a wet, like a cream?
Absolutely.
Like once it dries?
Not once it dries.
Okay.
So you have to apply it and then buff it out.
Okay.
We're going to add a transition color in there, but we're going to do it as a second step instead of as a first step. So because you have a crease here that is falling over, we want to bring the color up a little bit, or else when you open your eyes, you're not going to be able to see it anymore.
That's what I get all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing with hooded eyes. It hides your shadow. So I would even go a little bit higher. So look straight. Here's another trick when it comes to hooding. You want to apply your eyeshadow when your eyes are looking straight into the mirror. So apply on your lid with your eyes looking down, and then look straight so that you can make sure you can see it without going so high that you're in brow bone territory.
Okay.
Going from the lash line all the way to the crease. RMS is actually launching a whole new line of eyelights that are all matte shades.
What's the advantage of matte over a sheen?
There's no advantage, it's just a different look. A lot of women prefer a matte eye. I personally love a sheen. I think it's healthy and radiant. I think it's much more youthful looking, especially when applied on the eyelid. But a lot of women, they feel more comfortable with something more subdued, and matte is more subdued. So you can see that this has covered up our shadow. So we're just going to carve it up a little bit so that we can see it. Whenever you're blending, you're always going to use your crease brush. Whenever you're applying in a more dense way, you're going to use your lid shader brush.
Denser brush.
And you can tell that when I'm applying a cream shadow, do you see how I'm patting? That's to build up the coverage or to build up the color. And you'll notice that in the entire makeup, I'm going to switch from blending by buffing and applying more densely by stippling. All right, so our next step is to contour out the crease. When you're doing a crease contour, it's better to stay matte because you're looking for a shadow effect, not for like a poppy effect. So there are lots of matte shadow palettes that you can get. My favorite one that I use all the time is the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes. This is a palette I use literally every single day on everyone. But you can get a dupe. So if you're on a budget, this is a very expensive palette, you can get the e.l.f. one. This one is the Perfect 10 eyeshadow, and you can see that the colors are identical. They're almost exactly the same. So let's use the e.l.f. one just so that we can show that you can get a great look on a budget. Now, when you're doing a crease color, you want to look for a shadow color. Since we're working with like a peachy pink, then I would probably go into this family here. Like this is a nice kind of mid-tone brown. So you're just gonna apply your crease brush, you're gonna tap off the excess, you're gonna look straight now, and you're going to create a little bit of a shadow right in here to blend, and that's gonna give you a lot more dimension in the eye. Now, because we did the eyeshadow first, we don't have to be super neat because we're going to be cleaning all of this up anyway.
All the fallout.
Yeah, all the fallout. That's why it's such a good idea to do it first. Now, here's the thing with a hooded eye. If you use liner that's too thick, it will close the eye up a lot because you don't have a lot of lid real estate.
Yeah.
So a way to get around that is to buff the color in between the lashes.
Okay.
And even tight line underneath if you feel comfortable doing that.
Sure.
So I'm going to use a really dark brown color. This is by by Wonder Skin. This is a longwear eyeliner. It's amazing for not creasing. It's in the color Kalamata. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to apply it in between the lashes. So I'm giving you definition without closing up the eyes too much. So another trick is to take an angled brush, grab the pigment
right off the pencil.
right off the pencil, and you'll have
I've
a
never
lot
done
more
that
control.
before. I've done it with brown powder,
Yes,
and I still get the fallout and stuff. But this, I'm gonna guess this is neater.
This is much neater.
Okay.
And it's also longer lasting.
That's important.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's actually there.
And so I'm lifting up because I'm trying to get it as tight as I can to the lash line. If you're doing this yourself, you're not going to lift up with your finger, but you're going to lift your brows up as high as you can get them. A big mistake that I often see made with hooded eyes, especially mature hooded eyes, is going in with a liquid liner. And the reason a lot of people do it is because liquid liner doesn't transfer as much. But the problem with doing that is it's so stark and so harsh that it closes the eyes up immediately. You want to do a line that's really diffused and blended so that when you open, it's soft and gives definition without like making your eye teeny tiny.
It's good to know.
So we're going to start by wiggling in the lashes. Perfect. And then I'm going to grab it, lift up so that we get as much real estate as we can. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up the fallout. So the way that I'm going to do that is actually by grabbing an eye cream. And the eye cream is going to work like an eraser. You're going to put it on your Q-tip. I feel like this is one of the biggest mistakes that women make with their makeup. They do all this beautiful eye work, but then they don't clean up the fallout. Like they'll do it after their concealer and then they get this whole dusty cast here. And then they say, oh, I have such bad dark circles, but it's often just eyeshadow fallout.
I've been there.
Yeah. It muddies up everything. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually taking this line and I'm lifting because you want that eye lift, right? You said? So you're going to do it by carving out the shape with Q-tip after applying because it's too hard to get that shape without carving it out later. Let's move into some base. You mentioned that you struggle a little bit with redness, but you've tried corrector, but you find that it makes you look
Kind of sickly and pale. Like the
Yes.
green does not want to play.
I will show you a really easy way to apply corrector that won't make you feel that way.
Okay.
So where I see redness on you is right in here and a little wee in here. This is the NYX Pro Fix Stick. It comes in green. This is just a green corrector. You can get the sticks, which are really easy to use. I'm gonna apply a little bit on the back of my hand. I always use my hand as a mixing palette because once you put it on your hand, you can take it on your brush and you can make sure that the brush is evenly coated. It's much harder to blend things directly on the skin than to pre-blend them on the hand and have more control. So after that, this is the BK Beauty 114. This is an amazing complexion brush. I'm only gonna apply the green in the areas that are red and nowhere else. Because if you apply them on areas that aren't red, you're going to get a weird result from it because it's not going to be balancing anything out.
I'm so used to seeing the red cast that it just looks like,
Yeah.
okay, I trust you.
Yeah, you gotta trust the process. So again, we're gonna go into here. The nice thing about doing this is that say you're going to the beach and you maybe don't want the redness, you want to balance the redness, but you don't want a heavy complexion. You don't want to put really thick layers of foundation. If you do this, you can put a very sheer wash of foundation, it will still cover the redness because this is doing the job. People apply color corrector in the wrong way very often. I see it done where they put so much pigment on, you know, on Instagram, and that's often to get views because it's shocking. It stops the scroll when you see someone with like bright green all over their face. But it shouldn't go on like that. It really should go on in a very strategic way. So something else that I notice is you have a little bit of depth in here. So we can color correct that too, but you can't use green because this isn't red. So often people will reach for peach, and peach is a great color correcting color for certain types of dark circles, but for your skin tone, what will work better for you is actually pink.
Oh, okay.
So this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Concealer and Corrector. These are amazing for under the eyes. The formula is beautiful. This one is in color 160, which is just pink base. So what you're gonna do is you can apply it directly on with the sponge but you're gonna not have as much control if you do that. So a great trick is to grab a concealer brush. You're going to pick it up on the edge of the sponge, and then you're just going to apply it only where that hollow is, nowhere else. So don't bring it all the way down here. You don't need it there. You just have hollowness right here. So we're gonna pop that out right here. Now, the reason you want to do something pinky before you do your concealer is because the concealer isn't strong enough in coverage to handle a dark circle without having a corrector balance it underneath. What will happen is your under eyes will turn ashy and gray instead of look bright. For your foundation, do you prefer a glowier finish or more of like a satin finish?
I'm not sure what the difference is.
So satin is like a natural skin finish. Glowy has like luminosity to it.
I tend to go a little more for a sheen.
A drugstore foundation that I'm absolutely in love with that has a beautiful natural glow is L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. This is an amazing foundation. 24-hour wear, so it's long wearing. It's really radiant and luminous without being too oily. So we've color corrected. So now we can't disrupt the color correction, right? Because if we put stuff on top and smear it, it's gonna become muddy. So all you're gonna do if you're gonna build coverage is you're pouncing, going up and down, up and down. And wherever you wanna sheer out coverage, then you can start swiping and blending. This is very important in the areas where you have color corrector. So like in here. You're going to pounce, pounce, pounce so that you're putting the foundation on top of it. You're not
Without disturbing it, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywhere that you want to build coverage, you want to stipple. Anywhere that you want to sheer out coverage, you want to buff. So say we are stippling in this jawline area and we want to blend into the neck, we can buff into the neck. Anywhere that you have redness or age spots, you're going to bounce. Pop quiz. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do you apply your foundation under your eyes?
Yes.
No.
I meant yes, I do. Obviously, that's wrong.
So the under eyes is a high movement zone. And as we get older, we get a lot of texture down there. So we want to brighten it, but we can't put too much product there or else it's going to look more textured and more wrinkly. So you want to save that area for your corrector and your concealer, and you want to minimize the amount of product you put there. So just like that, even though it's not like I used a super heavy coverage, you have no redness on your cheeks at all anymore. Now we can go in with our concealer. Okay, now I'm gonna use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. So there are two. There's the pink one, that's a corrector. This one's a concealer. So we've corrected and now we can conceal. So you're going to want to apply it here, down the nose, and here in the hollow on top of that corrector. And then you're going to want to bring it up like this to give yourself an eye lift. You're going to get some of that pigment off the brush, so we're not using too much. And then we are going to stipple. Now, do you use any powder to set your under eye so it doesn't crease?
No.
Okay.
Only because I feel like adding powder makes it creasier.
Makes it
because I
creepy.
have foundation sitting in there and shouldn't have.
No, that's not why actually. It's because you're right. Certain powders make you super creasy. It's like it's funny because every time I do a video about under eyes for mature skin, it goes viral. It's a huge issue because powder dries things out, right? So if you apply the wrong powder under the eyes, all you're going to see are fine lines. It will emphasize them more than not using anything. So what do you do, right? Do you ignore it? If you ignore powdering, it's going to fall into the fine lines and it's going to crease. So you can't really ignore it, but how can you set it without it looking crepey? It's a big problem in this age group, even in my age group. You know, I'm almost 40 and even I really struggle with it. So you need a powder that's specifically made for under the eyes. And what that means is that it's so finely milled that it's going to stop the concealer from moving. It's going to make it transfer resistant, but it's not going to make you look older or more dry. The best one that I've been able to find, and I've tried every powder, like every powder, It's by Laura Mercier. It's called the Secret Brightening Powder for Under the Eyes. So it's made specifically for under the eyes. It is not cheap. I'm telling you right now. It's expensive, but it's worth it. You want to put it on a dome-shaped brush. So nice, dense brush. You're going to apply it on your brush. You're going to pack it into the bristles. Now you're going to let this sit for a second. Look up for me, because it has to dry down. If you don't let your concealer dry down a little bit and you powder it, it's going to become instantly gummy looking. So you're going to give this a little bit of time to oxidize and dry down. As it's drying down, it's going to crease, because that's what concealer does. It creases in fine lines immediately. So as you can see, as it's drying down, I'm removing the creasing. What I like to do when I'm doing my own makeup and I'm in a hurry is I'll do my lips now, I'll do my brows, I'll do my blush, and I'll just let this chill for a few minutes. And then when it's dried down, like right now it looks pretty good, all you're gonna do is take that powder that's packed onto your brush and you're going to press, 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 press. What it's gonna do is gonna give you this really seamless under eye. So if you look straight, it's like a perfect smooth under eye without any creasing. Nice, right?
I'll take it.
Yeah. If you don't smooth out the creases before applying powder, you will actually bake them in. So then they'll stay like that the whole day. You'll set them into the skin. So now that you have no more creases, you're gonna push, 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 push. So what I'm going to do for the under eye shadow is apply a little bit of that RMS shadow with a dome-shaped brush, like a pencil brush. This is one of my favorite brushes. It's brush 03 by Rephr. It's called a pencil brush because it's nice and rounded and very dense. So you get a ton of control, but it's more blendy than an angled brush. So if you use an angled brush, the line's going to be super harsh under the eyes. And you don't want harshness, you want smokiness. Mm-hmm. So this is small enough for the under eye area without being strong, without strongly depositing. So I'm just depositing it on the brush, making sure it's even. Then look up for me and I'm going to feather it into the lash line. Now for this color, because it's light, I'm taking it all the way in. If it was a dark color, like a dark brown, I would keep it on the outer parts of the eye so it wouldn't close and be over dominating. I'm going to take that brown again. I'm going to grab it on my angled brush and I'm going to apply it in here to smoke this out. Now I'm going to keep this extended only on the outside parts of the eye and a little tighter. And this is where I'm going to give you that lift. So I just gave you a little wing lift, but I had to connect it to the bottom because it would interfere with the top lid. And then I can just softly connect it here. So now what I'm noticing is we're creasing a little bit in your fine lines here, which is very normal. So to get around that, all you have to do is stipple out the creasing and then set it with a powder. So we're not using the Laura Mercier one. I'm going to use the Chanel one. This has a really nice fine consistency as well. And we're just gonna grab a powder puff. The reason it's moving is because the product is so wet. So it will move wherever there's crevices. I wanna make sure that that's even on the puff. And then if you press it into here, it basically erases the lines. See that?
Mm-hmm. Does it matter if you use loose or pressed?
Okay, so this is the difference. I actually did a whole video about that. What's the difference between loose and pressed powder, and do you need both?
I clearly haven't done my homework and seen that one.
That's okay.
Guilty.
That's okay, there's a lot of videos. Loose powder is more sheer and lightweight. Pressed powder is more dense and heavier. So if you want a wash of powder to set your makeup, that's a lot more lightweight. You want loose powder.
Loose powder, okay.
If you want to build coverage, then you want pressed powder. Pressed powder works really well as like a foundation.
Okay, because I have one that I've put over foundation.
Yes.
And I get that really matte, to put it nicely, a very matte finish.
Yes, because it could depend on the one you're using, but maybe it could be even a powder foundation that's very pigmented. Okay, let's do brows. So when you do your brows, what do you normally use?
I use a brown pencil, brow pencil, just to fill in for a more consistent line sort of throughout. And it's just like little bits here and there.
Yeah.
And then I put a spoolie through it to make it look natural.
Soft. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you tend to go for a darker brown or a lighter brown?
It's probably closer to darker.
Yeah.
I've used some palettes before with not a ginger, like the spice ginger brown.
Yes.
And that was too yellow.
Yeah.
So I haven't hit the right color yet. And I don't really know what that is.
It's tricky with gray hair because you don't want to go so warm.
No.
I find that the RMS has great products. I find that they have a really nice brow collection because it's very powdery and the tones are cooler. See how they're not super reddy? So this is a light one. This is the lightest, which I think would probably be too light for you. They also have this guy. This one is in color medium. So I feel like that might be a better color for you. That would like really match the undertones.
I think it's closer to what I would. It's a little cooler. It's probably a better match, but that's about the same intensity as the one I have.
Yes. Okay, let's try that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch some hairs and fill in the bottoms first. I almost like to do like a little outline here first. And the nice thing about this product is that it is so powdery, it doesn't feel like super harsh. Then we use our spoolie to soften, and then we can go in on top to shape. And whenever you feel like it's gotten too harsh, if you just put pressure with your spoolie, it will blend it out. So brows are sisters, not twins. We just got to do our best to get them as close as we can. But they're never symmetrical, like perfectly symmetrical. So this is just a brow gel by NYX. I'm just going to apply it just to keep the little hairs up. Another thing with hooded eyes is we want to increase our lid space as much as we can. So we want to make sure that our brows are not like invading this area. There we go. They're not blowing in the wind anymore.
I don't need my bobby pins.
That's right. I'm going to get you to curl your own lashes. We're going to apply some mascara. We're going to do this whole look with just mascara. And then at the end, we're going to do lashes to show the difference.
Cool.
Okay, because lashes you're not going to wear that to work. So it'd be nice to just show.
What do you mean?
I mean, you can.
On False Lashes Day.
That's right.
Every kid. You'd be really busy that day.
I'd be so busy. I'm going to apply a little bit of this on you because I feel like we need a little bit more radiance back. This is just a setting spray that adds a little bit more radiance. All right, so for mascara, we just curled your lashes off camera because nobody needs to see that. But we are going to use L'Oreal Paradise Big Deal. This is brand new. And we are going to go heavy on the lashes. Okay, we're going to go in with a bronzer now.
Wow, that's really brown.
This is the Merit Bronzer Stick. This is going to feel intimidating, but this color formula is almost like a watercolor. So I'm using the color Leo. I'm going to take it on a dense brush. We're going to warm up your face right in here. And it seems intimidating, but all of the Merit products are, have you heard of Merit?
I have, yep.
Yeah, it's all about the minimalist makeup look, right? They never overdo anything. It's never super heavy. It's always very, very soft. So their formulas can seem really intense.
It looks really intense in the stick.
Yeah, and then look at it, how sheer it is.
Yeah.
It's got a glowy formulation, which is really great for you because you mentioned you like glow. For someone with really oily skin, I don't love this formula. Like on me, it's way too wet. It feels like within half the day, I'm like an oil slick. It's just so wet. For a skin like yours, that's normal. You don't have issues with oil production. It can add like a beautiful bronzy glow. You can also add it to the jawline just to sculpt. So if you turn towards me, you can see like how it's giving you that like
the definition.
cheekbone. Yeah, but natural. I'm just going to add a little bit to the jawline. When you do this to the jawline, you're going to sculpt your jawline but make sure to blend so you don't end up with like a brown
A
line.
landing strip.
Yes. Your forehead, if you had a longer forehead, I would apply it all in here, but your forehead isn't very
pretty low,
long.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna avoid contouring this area just because it will shorten it up and you don't want to shorten it up.
Okay, because I've sometimes used the lightest of my bronzer shades
Yeah.
up there just because I saw it online and thought that's what one does. So it's interesting that you would avoid it for the height because I don't have a big forehead.
Yeah, what it will do, it will shrink it. So if you want to bronze in to have like a healthy bronzy summer glow, you can put it on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And bronze in the whole thing. But I wouldn't do like perimeter bronzing on you because it's going to make your forehead teeny. And your forehead it doesn't have like a ton of space.
No,
here.
my cheekbones are really wide, so it make my face really squat.
Exactly. It will shorten here and widen
That's
here.
not what we want.
Yeah, that's not what we want.
No thanks.
Another place that you can apply bronzer is on the bridge of the nose. So you can go in here with this type of brush, so fluffy but small. You can go in here, and that's going to give you the tiniest, cutest little nose. I mean, you already have a tiny, cute little nose. You can go around to shorten. So if you go in here, you shorten it up. I love taking my bronzer from my nose contour into my crease like this. This is a step I do on myself almost every single day.
What does that do?
Okay, so what contour does is it gives the illusion that something is back. So what it will do is it will make your crease here appear like it's back. So if you have hooding, it will push it back and push your eyelid forward. And then connecting it here just creates a really pretty line. Do you draw?
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever draw faces?
Yep.
You know how the nose always connects to the eyes?
Yes.
That's like how you sketch and blend and shadow. It's a very aesthetic way of making the face look very balanced. So these are amazing. These are brand new. CoverGirl True Blend Skin Enhancer. They are a blush balm. So they're a cream blush. This is color Nude Flush. I'm going to again put this on my hand. I'm going to pick it up. So a lot of people online will also go like,
Yeah.
Yeah. You can do that. It's just not going to look as good. You know, because you're going to want your bristles to be as even as possible so that once you pounce it on the cheek, you have a soft diffusion without having to work so hard. And we did all this work with color corrector.
Right.
We don't want to like all of a sudden just like mess everything up. Another mistake that I see a lot of people make is they'll smile and they'll put it right on the apples. But as we age, we lose volume. So when you stop smiling, all of a sudden the blush is like down here.
You mean I shouldn't do that anymore?
Is that what you do?
I totally do that. I did it this morning.
A lot of people do that. It works when you're like really young because when you smile and you stop smiling, your face doesn't drop so that it stays here. But as we lose volume here, it all of a
It's
sudden
in my mouth. It's in my shirt. Like, no.
it's on your boobs.
Yeah, that's hot. Yeah.
A way to think about it is to take your eye, bring it down, like the eye line down. You want to start pouncing around the eye line and move into the hairline. When you're using a cream, you want to stipple and not rub. See how I'm pushing it into the skin? And that will give you like a beautiful flush of color. Another thing that makes a huge difference is lips. This is an amazing lip liner by Maybelline. It's called the Lifter Liner. It's just as good as all the high-end brands. We're gonna start at the Cupid's bow. So you're gonna relax your mouth completely. And we are going to sketch out the Cupid's bow. So we're gonna imagine there's a line down the face and we want each side to be as symmetrical as possible, starting at the Cupid's bow. Now here's where I overdraw. If I'm gonna overdraw, I'm gonna overdraw here. I'm not gonna overdraw here because if you overdraw here, you get like a clownish effect. And then I'm gonna imagine the line, whoops, not there, right here. And we are going to round this out. And we're overdrawing here as well. Oh, this is the perfect color for you. Now we're gonna connect to the natural line so we don't end up with a weird, huge mouth. Now, something that will help your lipstick last longer is using a long wearing lipstick. So Super Vinyl Ink by Maybelline is one of those. It's a liquid lipstick that is pigmented but not too drying. And it's got like a beautiful finish to it. So I'll show you. So look up for me. I'm just gonna dust it here. A finishing step that makes a big difference is adding a bright shadow like this, like a vanilla tone. It can be matte or it can be shimmery. Matte is easier to wear. Like it can't go wrong. What you can do is use it, put it on a dense brush. So you should get this brush 02. This brush I use for everything. You just want to carve the brow here. And that is going to really open the eye up. See how it gives you like a brow lift?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can apply the same color in here where you have a little depth. And that's gonna brighten this up a lot. We were gonna do like a daytime look, but now it's gone full glam. This is
Which
like
is
my
great.
issue.
I have no problem with this.
I can't stay daytime. Like I keep going. There you go. Hold on, you stay right
So
there.
fun.
Now let's add some lashes. Lashes are a hooded eye person's best friend. It's like, it makes a huge, amazing difference. So when you have hooded eyes, you want to look for lashes that go short, long, short. You don't want them to go short to long, because short to long will flare at the outside, but we have too much skin.
Just gonna
here.
say they're gonna get stuck, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It'll make your eyes look heavy instead
Yes.
of lifted.
I have a set, that same brand.
Yes.
And they're called the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
And they look like a lead weight. Because they're so big and full at the ends. And I probably haven't got them cut the right length.
Yes.
And I put them on and go, "Ugh, no.
Yeah, it adds too much weight here,
Yeah.
right? Where we need lift actually here and less lift here, because the weight here will emphasize this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just open the eye up so much. Like if you look at the difference between this eye and this eye, it's a crazy difference how much it opens up the eyes.
What kind of glue do you use?
I always use Duo. It's my favorite one. It goes on white, dries clear, and I just find it reliable, strong. I've been using it for 20 years. Have you ever lost a lash?
Yep. They've gone creeping up my face on the hooded lid. Probably because the glue wasn't set or I had it in the wrong spot. But there was random tufts in the middle of my eyelid. It was just so bad.
Were they individuals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Individuals are very, very, very tricky to put on.
Should I see them?
You will see them at first because they are foreign to you at first.
Yeah.
So that it feels like visors.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
right?
does.
Like little
It's
visors.
really bizarre.
That will settle in a few minutes. Once in a while, what I'll do too is I'll take an eyelash curler and I'll pop them in an eyelash curler, and that will help to lift them a bit. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it less in my vision.
Yeah, that can help a
That
lot.
strange little visor.
Look straight. Am I pinching you?
Nope.
Yeah, that looks much better. It's another trick I did with bridal a lot.
All these insider tricks.
Yeah, all the insider tricks. One other thing I'm going to tell you. Do you use setting spray ever?
No.
Setting spray is like a holy grail product. If you haven't learned about it, you'll be in love. So what setting spray does, it does a lot of different things. It melts your powder products into your skin. It makes your makeup last way longer. It also can give you a glow depending on the formula. So if you get one like this, Urban Decay All Nighter, this one will make your makeup last a lot longer. But if you get one like this, the Tier Makeup Fixer, this will give you a glow and make your makeup last. So you can get some for glow enhancement, you can get some for oil control, all that stuff. But it will basically melt. I'm gonna use the Tier one on you. It's going to melt the products in and make you look so healthy and radiant. I even like using this midday. If my makeup's starting to look disheveled in the middle of the day, I'll throw this in my bag, I'll spray it in the bathroom, and it makes your makeup come back to life. Ready?
Yeah.
For the final reveal.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing. You were right. Trust the process. It's so balanced. I don't know what to say. It's amazing.
And then it's so good, huh?
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Do you feel comfortable? Like, is this something that you would feel okay going out in? And
Absolutely. Like special occasion, wedding. Yeah. for sure. I feel so glamorous right now, and just the glow in the skin it's incredible.
Can you still see the lashes, or are they better now?
They're better now. Yeah, they're
it takes
great.
a minute.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
I really
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
you taking the time, honestly.